presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Sports.
The Rays have been powered by rookies in 2015, led by the big bats of Steven Souza Jr. and Joey Butler, combining for 15 home runs and 37 runs batted in. Tonight, Tampa Bay looks for consecutive win number 4. Late night with the Rays from Seattle starts now. Tonight we greet you from the Emerald City. It's Seattle, Washington. A beautiful night at Safeco Field. This will be Game 2 of the 4-game series between the Rays and the Seattle Mariners. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an evening of Rays baseball. With Brian Anderson, I'm Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. Well, the Rays winners last night. They've won 3 in a row. Suddenly they're 5-2 on this road trip out west, making their second stop on the West Coast. And they've been led by some rookie bats, including Joey Butler.
Joey Butler has not stopped hitting since he's come up with the Rays starting back in May. But if you go back over his last 6 ball games, he's got a 6-game hitting streak. He's averaging 2 hits a game. I mean, 12 out of 24, 2 home runs, 2 doubles. 4 of the 6 have been multi-hit efforts. And I'll tell you, the thing that's been most impressive about Joey Butler is the fact that he doesn't get cheated on his swings, and yet still using the middle of the field the other way, including that big blast down in Anaheim against the Angels. Good power, middle of the field, other way. Great results for Joey Butler. And Jake Odorizzi, I got one question to ask you here. How do you have a loss with that ERA? He's given up just 1 earned run in his 2 starts against the Mariners, covering 13 innings. He started against them 2 starts ago, threw the ball very well, so you can imagine he's not going to change anything about his approach against these hitters here tonight. Go right back out into attack mode and look to get a win.
I'll see that question and raise you one. He's under 500 for the year, 4-5, despite 6+ innings in every start this year. This will be start number 12. Rays and the Mariners coming up from Seattle. Steven Souza Jr. swinging a very potent bat, and Todd Callis will take a look at that and examine his homecoming here in the great Northwest.
white Rays jersey. The rest of the clan in there as well, part of the Souza family, as the Rays get ready to take on the Mariners Game 2 of this 4-game series. Steven Souza Jr. plays for the Rays now, grew up in Everett, Washington, about 30 miles north of here. Football player, basketball player, and, oh yeah, not a bad baseball player either, leading the way with rookies with 11 home runs so far this year. You can see the 26-year-old, 6'4", 225 out of Everett. Last night, playing at home for the first time, a place where he went to games as a kid, and now playing as a big leaguer. Here are his thoughts.
Early on, my wife was asking me if I was nervous. I said, no, it's the same game. And so I went about my business the same way as I normally do. But then as soon as I strapped on my shoes, it got a little emotional. And when I ran out there, my family was cheering. I tried to soak it in. Yeah, they were loud, and it was cool walking up to the plate every time and hearing them. It gets me going, and I'm really excited to play for them.
Ended up with the big hit in last night's 2-1 Rays victory. We'll check out their family during the course of tonight's game as well. It'll be Jake Odorizzi on the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays. Jay Happ going for the Mariners. Enjoy all the action in 3 minutes and 20 seconds coming up next on Sun Sports.
Tonight in Seattle, the Rays taking on the Mariners in the second game of what will be a 4-game series before the Rays return home next week. Rays winners last night, another one-run game. And tonight's starting lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Rays will face a lefty, and Brandon Geyer will lead it off, followed by Joey Butler. He'll be the DH. Evan Longoria, followed by Logan Forsythe. Steven Souza Jr. in right. Jake Elmore is at first base. As Drupal Cabrera, the shortstop. Kevin Kiermaier in center. And batting ninth, Bobby Wilson, the catcher.
Well, taking the mound tonight for the Seattle Mariners is that left-hander you were talking about, Dwayne. Jay Happ making his 11th start of the season. The season numbers right there, 3.70. He's got a 5.33 on the road. However, at home, 2-1 with a 2.30 earned run average.
So here we go. The Rays facing Jay Happ, the lefty. And the first pitch of this game is a ball. First pitch presented by Pinch A Penny. 77 degrees. Been a gorgeous day in Seattle. Line drive and a base hit through the hole for Geyer to start this game.
I'll tell you what, Brandon Geyer, when he gets his opportunities up in that leadoff spot against lefties, he does not waste a whole lot of time. First good pitch out over the plate, he has taken a rip, and he has been hitting some shots into left field. This ball's down, but he's able to get down there and square it up.
Well, Geyer's been in that leadoff spot in all 18 games. The Rays have faced a left-hander in a starting role. And so here's Joey Butler, moved to first, and Geyer is back in there. Butler with that 6-game hitting streak we mentioned at the outset. 12 of his last 24 over the life of that stretch. 1-0 the count to him.
Well, he leads American League rookies in average slugging percentage. And he has been red hot for over a month.
Now 2-0, our big matchup, the Buick big matchup. Let's see what Butler has done this year along with Steven Souza Jr. A lot of production from those two right-handed bats. Line drive into right. It's going to be caught out there by Cruz. Throw to first and back in time. Just ahead of the throw is Geyer.
Now let's go ahead and set the Seattle Mariner defense. On the outfield left to right, we have Seth Smith, Dustin Ackley, and Nelson Cruz. Across the infield third to first, we have Kyle Seager, Brad Miller, Robinson Cano, and Logan Morenson with Mike Zunino behind the plate.
Here's Evan Longoria. Evan starts the evening hitting .267. Had a double in last night's game, his last time up. Picking up his 13th double of the year. And there's a nice stop by Zunino behind the plate on that pitch.
Well, yeah, especially because that ball was breaking down and in, almost being screened by Evan Longoria. So not only do you have to go down in the dirt and keep it in front, but you've got the hitter coming into play.
Evan taps it foul. Now 1-1. The Rays faced Happ on the last homestand. That was Colomé and Happ in that game. They went 10 innings, and the Mariners eventually won that one 7-6. There's a base hit lined into right. Geyer advances to second. And the Rays put 2 men aboard with 1 out.
Well, Jay Happ, when he is behind in the count, a lot of fastballs, and you see these Rays hitters. You know, Brandon Geyer jumped on one that was down, and in. But then Joey Butler and Evan Longoria with hard line drives to right field.
You know, the fact that the Rays, and this happens frequently with the schedule sometimes working out that way, where you face a particular pitcher and almost within a week you're going to face him again. And I would think that that's really a challenge for any pitcher to go through a lineup that close to the last time they faced him.
I will tell you that was my biggest pet peeve in pitching, is facing a team and then either turning around and facing them right away or even within 2 starts, because they already know what they've seen you. It's recent. It's at the front of their mind.
Yeah, and it's not as if you're going to reinvent yourself in the span of 1 or 2 starts.
No, you're absolutely right. And especially if you have a good start. You throw the ball well against a team and then face them again, well, you're not going to change your approach, and they know that.
Yep.
So you really have to execute that second outing. Now, if you have a cruddy start, well, guess what? You know what not to do.
Well, that's what the Rays did against him on the 26th of May. 3 runs, 7 hits in the 6 innings. Runners go, and now they're going to get Geyer caught between second and third. He's going to be tagged out as Longoria moved up to second. and stayed there.
We know that the Rays are fond of the double steal, and they pulled one off again last night, but so do the Mariners, and they pick right. Inside move here by Jay Happ as runners are off and going, and at that point, especially when Evan sells out to second base, then Brandon Seager just has to walk until he tags him.
So the Rays lose the base runner, now only Longoria at second. Forsythe takes it low. Well, the Rays pulled that last night with Forsythe and Butler. They've done it a couple times recently and had that same move in mind there and lost the base runner.
That's one of those things that gets scouted. I mean, Kevin Cash, that's one of his staples. He loves that double steal. The Rays have utilized it quite a bit. And so other teams will know, okay, what guys will they run it with? I mean, just about anybody that the Rays think can run will run. And so then you start looking at counts. Do they run more in certain counts? And you'll see more and more teams try to catch them on that attempted double steal.
Rays, especially if they're in a scoreless game, tie game, or if they've got the lead where they can be aggressive, all things being equal, they want to be aggressive first. Sometimes when you're down, it's a little difficult to jeopardize base runners that way, but all things being equal, they're going to continue to be aggressive. Cutting a miss, Forsythe out on strikes. The Rays with a couple hits, they leave one, do not score. First inning, we'll take a look at the lineup for Seattle, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Logan Morrison's going to lead it off, then Robinson Cano, Nelson Cruz, Kyle Seager hits cleanup. Mark Trumbo, the new addition to their lineup, the DH. Seth Smith, followed by Brad Miller. Mike Zunino's going to catch. And the number 9 hitter in center field is Dustin Ackley.
Well, Jake Odorizzi making his 12th start of the season, and that record largely a byproduct of a lack of run support. So you can imagine how excited he was his last time out. He went 6 innings against the Baltimore Orioles, and in those 6 innings, the Rays put 7 runs up for him. Probably didn't know what to do with himself.
Now the pitch to Morrison is a strike call. Morrison was scratched from the lineup last night with back spasms. He carries an 11-game hitting streak into this game. That's a fair ball, and Elmore at first makes the play unassisted.
Now let's take a quick look at the Rays defense and see how that's going to line up here tonight. In the outfield left to right, we have Brandon Guyer, Kevin Kiermaier, and Steven Souza Jr. across the infield, third to first. Evan Longoria as Jubal Cabrera, Logan Forsythe, and Jake Elmore with Bobby Wilson behind the dish.
Well, the Mariners last night had 10 hits. They scored just 1 run and went 1 of 11 with runners in scoring position. But when you look at their lineup, and they're scratching their heads here in Seattle as well. Cano takes a strike. They really felt with Cano coming over here last year, ready this year, and the addition of Nelson Cruz, that this lineup would be productive, and it just has not worked out that way.
You answer me this, Dwayne. I know we've talked about it before, but this is the ultimate riddle. You add Nelson Cruz to a lineup that pretty much has stayed intact. He's hitting .319 with 18 bombs and 39 runs driven in, and this offense is noticeably worse than it was a year ago.
Yeah, and this homestand is perhaps the most shocking of examples of that. Just 1-7. They're averaging 2.3 runs a game, and that runner in scoring position number, very anemic, just up and down this lineup, and they're still trying to figure it out. Close pitch there to Cano. It's 1-2.
Yeah, this is a team that went on the road against some Eastern teams, played well, swept the Rays at the Trop, and then come back out here. They lose 3 out of the 4 of the Indians. They get swept in 3 games by the Yankees, and of course lose last night. And it's all, they played great defense on this homestand. They pitched pretty well enough to win a few games, but the hitting has been absolutely atrocious.
Well, it has been a riddle for Lloyd McClendon. This club was 87-75 last year, and they thought with the additions they had made that they were going to be right there in the American League West race. And right now they're 9.5 back to start play, running 4th.
And they missed the playoffs last year by 1 game. They finished 1 game behind the A's. The Angels, of course, won the division. The A's get the wild card. They were 1 game behind them, and right now, like you said, in danger of falling double digits out of first place. Thanks to the Houston Astros. We haven't had an Astro update in a while.
High fly, that's down the left side, foul. Yeah, we're checking some of their numbers as they continue to lead the American League West, and they are amazing with a 5-game lead going in over the Los Angeles Angels with that record of 34-22. And when you break that team down and their offense, ground ball down to first, sharply hit, and Elmore is going to make this play unassisted. Well, you give up part of your body right there to stay in front of that one.
Man,
not easily done.
No,
painful.
No. I mean, you expect the ball to be down, and watch where this catches Elmore. Right in the sternum. Here you go, Jake.
So 2 outs. Here's Nelson Cruz. Cruz 5th in the league in hitting, tops in home runs, pitches down. You mentioned Houston. That's what has propelled that Houston team, aside from that great pitching they've gotten. But when you look at their offense, they're tops in home runs, but they strike out more than anybody. And they're last in the league in average. And there's a diving attempt by Souza Jr. in right, but he cannot hold on to it. And that's a base hit for Nelson Cruz. Steven Souza Jr. giving it a great attempt out there in right field.
Yeah, he got there in time to be able to make that play. It's just so difficult. He had to come from so far. You're kind of fooled by the big swing of Nelson Cruz and the little flare. Boy, he gave himself up. That close.
Souza had a big cheering section here last night and again tonight. He's from nearby Everett. And so he has a lot of family and friends here to see him play in this homecoming. Pitch to Kyle Seager is a little bit wide. 1 ball, no strikes. Adrian Johnson is calling the balls and strikes tonight, and he is not known as a pitcher's umpire. Hitters prefer him over a lot of umpires. There's a strike. So it'll be interesting to see how many close pitches go one way or the other, but his history is a little better for hitters than it is pitchers.
Those nights were not fun. Where you're throwing the ball out over the heart of the plate a lot, and if you don't have the stuff for it, those can be rough games to go through.
Well, I don't know if you remember back in June of 2010 when the Rays were no hit by Edwin Jackson when he was pitching for the Angels. Edwin made 149 pitches in that game, walked 8 and threw a no-hitter, and Adrian Johnson was behind the plate that night. 2-1 now.
Didn't they put an arrest warrant out for Joe Madden after that game for allowing 149 pitches? That seems just like eons ago. You don't see that anymore.
That's a foul out of play. 2-2 the count. Rays had a couple base runners in the first, lost one on the bases and left the other one on base. Cruz at first, 2 outs in the bottom of the inning, and 2-2 the count on Seager. Base hit the other way. Rays with the shift on, and Seager takes it into left. So it'll put 2 men aboard for Mark Trumbo, the designated hitter.
You know, and that's interesting, too, because Kyle Seager's the guy that's got a reputation. He would love the ball middle of the plate, middle in, early in the count to turn with power. But as the count moves deeper, and especially with 2 strikes, he will go the other way. And they did not have him defended that way, and he easily gets it out in left field.
Well, he burned the Rays in that series at the Trop with a grand slam, and then what turned out to be the game-winning home run. And he continues to be hot. He's now hit safely in 19 of his last 22 games, hitting over 340 in that stretch.
And what are the chances that he's going to do what he did in that game? I mean, you think about the grand slam off Jake McGee and then Brad Boxberger, back-to-back at-bats off those 2 guys.
On consecutive pitches for him in those at-bats.
Unbelievable.
Trumbo bounces it back foul. Trumbo just joined this team yesterday, coming over from the National League, as the Mariners look for more offense.
They're hoping that he can balance the lineup because a lot of, outside of Nelson Cruz, a lot of their, high-profile hitters, all from the left side. And so you're hoping that, that Mariners are hoping that Mark Trumbo can kind of balance the lineup out when you think about Seager, Cano from the left, Cruz, Trumbo from the right.
Yeah, the Rays hope they get right on that starting Monday. Ground ball to short. Cabrera is going to take the forced play at second on Seager. 2 men left. We go to the second, no score. Rays baseball on Sun Sports, brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Morgan Auto Group. Megan Morgan, we make it happen. Welcome back to Safeco Field in Seattle. More late night with the Rays. We say late night. Steven Souza Jr. chops it to third. Seager up with it and makes the play. One away.
You know, Dwayne, if you go back about 24 hours from right now, that look on my face that we just had the pop, that was the look on my face for...
That was the prevailing expression?
The rest of the night. The rest of the night.
Well, your guys lost last night. It was tough.
That's tough to watch.
Yep.
And now Kyrie Irving? Kneecap? Are you kidding me?
Yep. It'll be very difficult now. There you go.
Yeah, that's it. That started about midway through the third quarter and didn't let up. Even continued after the fact.
But you're feeling better now.
I am.
Yeah. And looking great.
Appreciate that.
1-0 the count to Jake Elmore. 1-1.
I feel like my nose is coming back into shape. I'm not drooling anymore.
High popper. It's a foul ball. Zunino away with the mask is there and makes the catch.
And almost ended up stepping back on that mask. You know, these catchers that use the old style mask and helmet will pull that mask off, and when they get a bead on where that ball is going to be, where they're going to make the catch, then they'll throw it away so as not to step on it. And it almost didn't work out very well there for Zunino.
Yeah, good idea to really give it a nice little toss right there, because you're right, his foot was right on that mask. So 2 gone for Asdrubal Cabrera. Chops it third. Seager a long throw, but with time. And it's a very quick inning for half. 1, 2, 3, go the Rays. Army's Children's Services. Denora enjoys cheerleading and being with friends. As new children arrive at Salvation Army's Children's Services, she's the first to make them feel right at home and welcome. The Rays proudly provide grants and outreach events to the Salvation Army's Children's Services. How do you raise up? Seth Smith opens the bottom of the second inning. 1 ball, no strikes. Smith hitting .259. Brad Miller follows, and then Mike Zunino. Seattle in with a record of 24-30. They've lost 6 in a row. Odorizzi gave up a couple hits in the first, left those men aboard. And there's a strike down around the knees, 1-2. And now with a 2-strike count, Cabrera backs up on the left side of the infield, the lone defender over there. Two. Pitch is down. The count is now full. The Angels at last count were still hitting in the top of the 9th inning, and they've made that an 8-7 ball game.
And I think it may be over.
Yep. They've finally got that last out.
Wow.
And the Yankees are going to beat the Angels 8-7. Boy, what an attempt of a comeback by the Angels in that game. Full count here on Smith. The Angels trailed 8-1 going into the 9th. They scored 6 and had 2 men on base when the game ended.
I saw that it was 8-3, bases loaded, nobody out, off your boy, Esmil Rogers.
Ground ball to the right side. That's Longoria over there.
You know that Joe Girardi not real happy with obviously the way it ended, but the fact is, you had Rogers out there to finish that game off, and all of a sudden you had to go to Betances. You wanted to stay away from him in an 8-1 game. You had to get him in.
Yeah, and you don't make your manager very happy when that happens.
No.
Brad Miller. Miller shortens on the bat, takes the pitch for a strike. I'd just like to say that last night, despite the fact that you were mourning a loss of your favorite basketball team, in the aftermath of that, while you were forlorn and wandering the streets, strike 2, you still stopped traffic to help 2 little ladies get across the street and keep them out of harm's way. And you're to be commended for handling traffic the way you did. Miller is out on strikes.
I just try to give back, Dwayne. I just try to give back.
Yeah, I know that about you.
I had to urge a cabbie to move it along. He was, wasn't on point like he should have been. So we gave him a little swift little, here you go.
Yep.
Send him on his way, and then help the ladies across the street.
You're looking out for the folks.
Never be too careful.
The strike to Zunino. A ground out and a strikeout. Oh, 2. Wide. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rizzi gave up 2 runs in 7 innings in his outing against this team at the Trop. There goes Sousa on the run, and he makes the catch and hangs on as he disappeared into the right field corner. And Mike Zunino is out number 3. Nice running catch. Sousa covering some ground. We're going to head into the 3rd. The Rays nothing and the Mariners nothing. in this game and all season long. Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Well, here's Kevin Kiermaier getting a start tonight with the left-hander Happ out there. There's a strike. The Rays in this stretch here facing all these left-handed starters. Elias in last night's game, Santiago and Wilson the last 2 nights over in Anaheim against the Angels. And so Kiermaier had not been getting the start against the lefties, but Kevin Cash wanted him to see some live pitching here. I mean, the idea that he's going to be in the lineup tomorrow and Felix Hernandez is scheduled to pitch. Well, here, sit down 4 days and then go face this guy.
That's cruel. Yeah. That would be cruel. Hey, it's time for you to play again. See that guy? Expected big things out of you, KK.
So he's 2-2 against Happ. Well, Kiermaier gave the Rays a big lift in that game in Anaheim on Wednesday when he connected to open the 10th inning. That home run. The Rays came away with a 6-5 victory on that home run. Keeps the at-bat going with that foul ball. Kiermaier up here with Bobby Wilson due next, and then the top of the order. That would be Brandon Guyer. Well, Happ has already made more pitches to Kiermaier than he did in the entire second inning. He had a 5-pitch second inning. Kiermaier is out on strikes. Well, strikeout number 2 for Happ.
And both of them have been on the fastball up. I was going to say, much like, Jake Odorizzi, Jay Happ will elevate the heater. He lowered his arm angle just a little bit. You remember he used to be right over the top and lowered his arm angle just a little bit, get a little bit more movement, a little bit more life on the fastball, but still fond of that heater up in the zone.
Wilson takes a strike. Wilson getting the start tonight. Rivera called last night. And there's a strike 0-2. Rivera's been doing a lot of the catching. When the season began, the Rays were well aware, and so was Rivera, that he wasn't going to catch every day, but it seems that he has done that. Bounced into the dirt there, and it's 1-2. So Wilson gets a start, and I think Kevin Cash has an overall idea to spread that out a little bit more, with Rivera catching most of the time, just not all of the time.
Got to give him a blow every now and then.
And the other side of that is you're going to let the other guy catch, and then you are facing Felix Hernandez tomorrow. Then do you run Wilson in there? You go, oh, by the way, you haven't started in a week or so. Face this guy. So it's part of managing.
Boy, is that not the truth. That's exactly what managing is. Managing situations, managing players, coaching staff. I mean, you've got 25 players, a full coaching staff, a lot of different needs on the field and off the field that Kevin Cash is put in charge of.
Wilson fouls it right back.
And you got to be fair to these guys, like you said. You don't sit a guy for a week and then roll him out against maybe the best right-handed starting pitcher in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just not right.
It isn't. And the guy's like, really? I mean, when did I get in your doghouse?
Fly ball short center. And Ackley's there. You talk about how difficult it is if you're not playing every day. And I really think that backup catcher probably has, if not the toughest, certainly one of the tougher spots to handle, because he's got to be ready and handle a pitching staff and then not playing every day, he's still going to have to try to contribute with the bat when he can, and that's tough to do. Up the middle by Geyer, backhanded by Cano, and he made a very difficult play look easy there on the backhand and the throw to first. We go to the bottom of the third, no score.
Inside Safeco Field, where the Rays are taking on the Mariners, we have the entire suite full of Souzas right now. Last night they were down in the stands. Tonight, a nice view up here at the suite level. Tracy Souza is the mom of Steven Souza Jr. And who all's here? I see a lot of Souza jerseys.
Oh my gosh, we have a huge family here. We have his wife right here, Michaela, and we have his aunt and uncle, aunts and uncles. We have his mother-in-law. His father-in-law over there, his cousins. He has his nephew right here.
How you doing, buddy? What's his name?
Cooper.
Cooper. All right.
Yeah. His sister, his brother-in-law. Yeah. And
can we see all the jerseys? Can you guys spin for our camera? Can we see can you guys show all the jerseys? I mean, every single jersey says Souza. It's on. That's a good representation.
It is. You know, they have been supportive. They've been with Steven since he was little, watching him go through this, never knowing that we would be here. And, yeah, this entire group has been with him. So
his dad stepped downstairs for a minute. He may or may not be back before we leave here at the suite. You guys, Everett, Washington, big Seahawks fans, he was telling me. You had season tickets. Did you also come out to the Kingdome and Safeco Field as well?
All the time, yeah. I mean, one of the things that was really emotional for me yesterday was when we would bring Steven here when he was Cooper's age, and he would tell us, Mom, one day I'm going to play here. And we would go, oh, Steven, that's great. And for him to actually be here is just so emotional.
Yeah, he said he tried to treat it like a normal game, but it was tough last night. I got to imagine for you guys especially too.
It was very surreal, and to think that, you know, I mean, we've watched him play throughout his career, but to be able to come home to play in front of his family and friends who have supported him this entire time it was an amazing moment. We're just really blessed.
I know he said he heard you guys last night when you were a little closer to the field. I assume you guys are making enough noise he can hear you from up here tonight?
Yeah, we've actually seen him kind of give us, you know, like little signs and stuff. Yeah. So.
Well, we'll listen because he'll be up again shortly. We'll listen from up here in the suite level as a base hit into center field here with one out. But, guys, from Everett, Washington, and parts right around here in the Seattle, Washington area, the entire Souza clan enjoying baseball on this Friday night. Back up to you guys.
Well, that's a great story. A young man coming to this ballpark and predicting that he would play here someday. And And she's so right. It's an emotional time for both Souza and the entire family. Those great stories in baseball. So he gets to play in front of his family and a hometown crowd. Morrison with a base hit to extend his hitting streak to 12. And now Odorizzi faces Robinson Cano with 1 on and 1 out.
And you know what's really cool about that, too, is not only that opportunity to come home, but look how far. You play in, Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, nowhere near Seattle. So maybe the only time a lot of these people get to see him play at all.
Yeah, it's about as far away in the continental United States as you can be from one corner to the other. 2-0 the count.
We'll learn all about that on Sunday.
Yes, we will. Every air mile of it. It's foul the other way. 2 balls and a strike. High fly the other way to left, and Geyer is there. 2 gone. And that will get Nelson Cruz to the plate. The T-Mobile game changer, and this guy is that when you look at these numbers, BA. 18 home runs for this club.
It really is amazing. The 39 driven in, slugging percentage. There were a lot of people after he hit all the home runs for the Orioles last year said, well, going out to Seattle, no way he's going to approach the home run numbers. Not going to hit 40 ever again. And, well, if he's not on pace to do that, 18 already, pretty remarkable.
Well, this park traditionally has been a difficult park for hitters in general. A little better recently. They made some adjustment to the fences. When you get that wind blowing in from left, although it's just 376 to the alleys, sometimes that's an issue here for right-handed hitters. Not to miss, he has 18 home runs. 15 of those have been on the road.
Which is even more remarkable. I mean, now you've taken their schedule, cut it in half, and he's got 15 on the road. That's pretty astounding. Been a great start. It's just, it's one of those questions that we asked ourselves: how in the world do you add this guy to a lineup? And last year this team averaged just under 4 runs a game at 3.91. They come into play tonight just over 3.5 runs a game. The only team in Major League Baseball scoring fewer runs per game than they are the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, that's amazing when you think about the additions to this lineup, and just the one key addition, Cruz, with the run production that not only that they expected him to bring, but that he has brought.
Yep.
And look at that offensive breakdown for the Mariners, and really it's a breakdown in more ways than one.
Well, you're not kidding. I mean, all of the big important categories, getting guys on base, and then the runners in scoring position, getting them in. It has been a rough road for this ball club. And part of the reason for the drop-off, look who's hitting in front of him. I mean, Robinson Cano, the batting average under 250, just 2 home runs.
Now the count is full. Morrison, the runner at first. And he will be off with the pitch. 2 outs, full count. Down to first with a broken bat. Barreled into the bat, winds up at the base of the stands. Elmore takes care of that through 3, no score. Sunday extra special Sunday, June 14th, when the Rays take on the White Sox with a Father-Daughter Day ticket package. Purchase tickets to this special event to receive a seat in the lower level and a Rays Father-Daughter Day item. For tickets, visit raysbaseball.com/special events. Joey Butler leading off the inning, chopping it to short. Miller makes the pickup and the throw to first. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Seen a lot more of that this year. You know, Jay Happ is a guy who over the course of his career has averaged 17.5 pitches an inning. This year it's under 16, and you've seen a big rise in the percentage of swings on his first pitch. You know, that better command, throwing more strikes, and teams are ready to go. We've seen that here with the Rays tonight with that 5-pitch inning that he had. A lot of early in the count swings.
The other way, Cruz will play it on 1 hop, and Longoria is 2 for 2. He has 2 of the 3 hits the Rays have collected.
Well, here's the delivery. Not a bad pitch at all, but Evan Longoria, from that upright stance, is able to cover the plate down and away and just soft serve that ball out into right field.
Want to know the count to Logan Forsythe? Now it's a 2-ball, no strike count. Rays scored both their runs last night in the 4th inning. Forsythe looks at a strike. They went on to win that game 2-1. Another one of those low-scoring games for the Rays, and that's been an amazing run. The pitching has been so good.
This pitching staff has held the opposition to 2 runs or fewer in just about half their games.
Yeah, they're 21-5 in those games.
Yeah, then you start to shake your head at the fact that you lost 5 times.
Fly ball not too deep to right. Cruz is there to make the catch on this one. Well, the other factor in last night's game was great defense. How about this play from Logan Forsythe?
Are you kidding me? And he's able to get the lead runner because of the hesitation on the fact that it was a line drive. And maybe it's going to be caught, maybe it's not. But the fact that he even got leather on that bullet by Cano and then gets the lead runner really helped shape the final outcome of that game.
Still a man at first with 2 outs.
You go back.
Souza Jr. takes ball 1.
Go back to that photo, that little pop-up of the look on my face. That look was when that play was made. Same look.
2-0.
Maybe a slight grin.
It's good to be consistent, though.
Well, it's the one thing we strive for.
A 3-0 count to Souza Jr.
Green light here.
Why not?
I'm with you. With the power potential of Souza Jr., absolutely, the Rays will be aggressive, and I'm sure that he likes it. He can take a hack.
And he does, pounding it foul in front of Charlie Montoyo. 3-1. Yeah, with his power, he doesn't always have to get all of it.
No, and that's the other thing. You know, you don't want to hold these guys back. The guys that are capable of giving you that quick 2-run pop and say, okay, on this count right here, we want you to take this pitch. No. If you got a chance.
As scarce as runs have been, you got a guy on base and you got Souza at the plate. He's got to swing.
Get that yellow handle going.
Now, cutting the miss and on his way to second, and Longoria makes it. Longoria picks up a stolen base, and boy, it appeared he was going to run into a sure out at second base.
I don't know how they did not get him, but this throw a little bit offline. Robinson Cano with the no-look tag as he's got to reach back, and we'll see. Oh, he got him plenty of time.
Yep, they're going to take a look at it.
That will not take long. This inning is over.
It's the Chrysler Replay Challenge. The Mariners challenging this one.
The Mariners just saw the replay up on the Jumbotron, and they're walking off the field, and the Rays are getting ready.
Yep. So that's a caught stealing. And we'll end this inning. 2-4 on the caught stealing. We go to the bottom of the 4th with the Rays and the Mariners still scoreless. We'll take another look at Longoria's approach to the bag at second. He's out. Women's World Cup begins as China takes on host country Canada. And then Monday, don't miss Team USA's first game as they battle Australia on Fox Sports 1. Plus games all weekend long on Fox, Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, and it's all streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Kyle Seager goes after the first pitch here and fouls it back. But a split change, and he just got a little bit of it to bound it to the base of the stands. Seager, Trumbo, and Smith due up in the Seattle half of the fourth. A 1-1 count. Seager singled his first time. One of 3 hits collected by Seattle so far.
Well, he's one of the hitters in this Mariners lineup, and you had mentioned it in his last at bat, starting to put some things together, becoming more of the guy that the Mariners thought that they had after a nice season last year.
That evens the count at 2-2. And again, Cabrera alone on the left side backs off now and retreats to a deeper position.
No fear of the bunt now, and so you go back and play shortstop. You're handing him anything he wants to hit between short and third. He took advantage in his last at bat.
And the count is full. Odorizzi against Happ in the second game of a 4-game series here. Right to Cabrera, where he had backed off, and that low liner hit right to him. 1 away.
Now let me ask you this. Does that count as a victory for the shift?
Why not? They had him positioned perfectly and employed the shift.
I don't know. I mean, he played shortstop. And everybody else was hanging out in right field talking to Souza Jr., giving him support for coming back home. But the out was recorded.
Yeah. And the shift was employed. Outs recorded, shift employed.
Is Big Blue smiling or remaining stoic?
I'm gonna vote stoic until such time as they can factor in the human element into Big Blue.
You know they're trying.
Oh, I'm absolutely certain that they're trying. 1-1 to count to Mark Trumbo. Pop foul, and that's going to be out of play. Still 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. That takes care of Trumbo. Out number 2 and strikeout number 3 for Odorizzi.
That swing by Mark Trumbo, very mechanical and stiff. That fastball up in the zone, catching him by surprise, and Odorizzi's able to blow him away with it.
Here's Seth Smith. Smith grounded out to the left side his first time up. And that's 0-2. Well, the Rays started the day a half game behind New York. The Yankees held on and defeated the Angels 8-7. They had an 8-1 lead, and the Angels scored 6 runs in the 9th inning, but fall a run short. So right now the Rays are 1 full game back of New York in the American League East. And Smith over that pitch, out on strikes. 1, 2, 3, go the Mariners. No score. On to the 5th we go. Battle where the Rays and the Mariners are moving into the 5th inning. Tonight's great moment in Rays history, presented by Geico. It was on this day in 2006, James Shields picks up his first Major League victory, tossing 6 scoreless innings as the Rays defeated the Angels 4-0 at the Trop, his first career Major League win. Steven Souza Jr. opens the 5th inning. That's a ball. Elmore will follow, and then Cabrera. Foul back Souza. Last night with all those friends and relatives here, delivered the first of 2 runs for the Rays in the 4th inning with a 1-out single. Rounded to third, his first time up tonight. That's out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now 2-2. He did not go. Jean Tumpain down there at first says he held up. And that is strikeout Number 3 for Happ. 1 out in the inning, and we'll check in right now with Todd Callis. Todd?
Dwayne, a big congratulations to the Rays assistant athletic trainer Paul Harker. He is going to Cincinnati for the All-Star game, named one of the American League trainers. Paul in his 10th year with the Rays, 19th year in the Rays organization, 25 overall as an athletic trainer in professional baseball. Ron Porterfield, the head athletic trainer, has been before, and now Paul Harker goes to his first All-Star game, guys.
Yeah, we second that congratulatory note. Ron Porterfield was there in 2013, and Paul Harker will be a part of the American League staff at the All-Star game next month. And congratulations to Hark. Boy, that entire staff, you talk about a hard-working staff. They put in long hours, and they're expert at what they do. And any accolades they get, they are well-deserved.
How meticulous are they? You know, how early they get to the field every day to attend to the injured and get guys ready to play. The work that they're doing well after the game is over. What about on the plane rides? Mm-hmm. You know, they're always, I mean, they just really don't have any time off at all.
And the other thing that you really respect about their jobs over and above what we see them do is how they got here. You know, most of those guys start in the minor leagues. Mm-hmm. Ron Porterfield was in the Houston organization. He was in the minor leagues a trainer and a bus driver. I mean, those guys did all kinds of things. And even, you know, at the higher levels in the minor leagues, they double up their duties. Into the corner for Elmore. He's on his way to second. And so Elmore has himself a double, and the Rays have a man in scoring position here in the 5th inning. Just to follow up that thought, there were a lot of trainers who took care of team travel as well as being the trainers in the minor leagues, all kinds of things. And by the time they get to the big leagues, they have certainly put in their dues, and they continue to do great work at the major league level.
I never thought that I would do this, Dwayne, but I'm going to compare Ron Porterfield to Bruce Dickinson, the lead singer for Iron Maiden. Lead singer for Iron Maiden also flies their plane.
There you go.
Their touring plane.
Okay.
He's a pilot.
Yep.
So there you go. You're a trainer, bus driver, lead singer, pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry
this
about
one in the dirt. It skips away over to third goes Elmore. And now the Rays have that runner at third with 1 out here in the 5th.
Yeah, that's huge. That is huge. That 1 out, you need a base hit, you're thinking, with a runner on second. Now your chances of scoring that run have gone up many, many times on that pitch yanked by Happ.
And, you know, here's a situation where a couple of teams headed in opposite directions right now. One team's thinking, well, here we go again. We're not scoring any runs. We give up a double. Now I throw a wild pitch. Now a guy's at third. And they'll pull the infield up here as Cabrera is going to try to make some contact to maybe get it through that drawn-in infield. 1-1. So a big spot right here for both these teams. The Rays with an opportunity to break a scoreless tie. And the Mariners have lost 6 in a row, and they've had a tough homestand.
And you pull the infield up for a guy who's a notorious fly ball pitcher. I mean, not to say that he won't get a ground ball, but that's not typically the play.
Up the right side, foul. Out of play.
Oh, and you're right about that. You know, this team had to be sky high off their last road trip, sweeping the Rays, and then saying, we're coming back home for 11 days.
Yep.
We can make a move. And it's been a disaster. A disaster. And you're right, it starts to seep into the mind because it's every day.
And cut the miss. Happ gets a big strikeout of Cabrera with a man at third.
Well, nothing fancy. He just challenged him with a fastball. And Cabrera not real happy with himself, you can imagine. Right there to try to pop out into right field and just swings through it.
Well, here's Kiermaier in the lineup against the lefty. Fouling a pitch back for a strike. Kiermaier extended the at-bat through 8 pitches in the third and was struck out on a fastball up. Oh, 2 now. This is the first time either club has had a man reach third tonight. And Kiermaier strikes out, so Jay Happ takes care of that threat with strikeouts of Cabrera and Kiermaier. Ball on Sun Sports, brought to you by Checkers. Get Checkers authentic Philly cheesesteak or try the new meatball sub. Pick yours, 2 for $5. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Late night with the Rays from Seattle, Washington.
That was not last night. That had to be more like earlier.
Earlier in the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like right after the Open.
Little tapper by Miller. Tough play. And that ball gets in between Longoria and Odorizzi. Odorizzi at the last second tried to peel off, but both ran interference against each other that time.
Well, Odorizzi had no chance to make that play. Evan Longoria, slim chance to make that play because of the swinging bunt. But with Jake Odorizzi crossing his path, forget it. We got a left-handed hitter hitting that. He's out of the box. And Evan Longoria was the only one that was going to have a shot at him. But not to be.
Leadoff man on, and here's Mike Zunino, the catcher. Swinging through it, strike one. Mariners putting the leadoff hitter aboard for the first time. Runner goes, and the ground ball going to stay fair all the way down to first. Cued by Zunino. It remained fair, and Elmore makes that play. Miller winds up at second.
These Mariner hitters may be swinging the local newspaper.
Well, whatever they're doing in this inning, they now have a man in scoring position with one out.
How about that, with 2 swinging bunts?
And Dustin Ackley The center fielder in here against Odorizzi. One ball, no strikes. First time since Cruz was at second base in the first. The Mariners have a man in scoring position. Two and 0. Odorizzi falls behind, 3 and 0. And ball 4. So a walk on 4 pitches. The first walk of the night given up by Odorizzi.
Yeah,
Puts him at first and second.
Not something that you see very often, too. Jake Odorizzi has been so efficient, limiting walks. He came in averaging just 1.74 walks per 9. That's an outstanding rate. And a 4-pitch walk to the 9-hole hitter. Not great.
Logan Morrison, who's been as hot as anybody in this lineup, now with a 12-game hitting streak, is in the batter's box. First pitch is a strike. And Odorizzi just hurt something there. And this is the last thing the Rays want to see.
It was immediate, holding that side.
Well, Paul Harker out there with Jake Odorizzi.
He's begging, too. He's like, let me throw one. Just let me throw one and test it. I don't think the Rays are going to let him do that.
Yeah, you saw Cash now getting together with Jim Hickey, trying to yell something into him, and they meet and walk back down into the dugout, and they're going to get that bullpen up in a situation like this. If he's forced to depart, and the Rays generally are extremely cautious in these situations, and that's how they're going to play it right here. So Odorizzi will have to leave after making that pitch to Morrison. We'll take a look. We'll back it up to the pitch before.
You could read his lips, and he said, I felt something on the pitch before. Well, here it was. Let the pitch go in there. You can see how that little move over a little bit, and then here's the next pitch. And that was no doubt. That was no doubt, and that right there is why the Rays would not even allow him to attempt another pitch. You do not want to aggravate whatever that was anymore.
So with 2 men on and 1 away, Rays will get a new pitcher. Rays baseball on Sun Sports, brought to you by Kubota. For more information or to find a participating dealer, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Late night with the Rays from Safeco Field here in Seattle.
That was the day of the big test, and you did pretty well.
Try to be prepared.
Oh, you were prepared. I mean, highlighters, pens, pencils, a little stethoscope, tire gauge. You had it all.
Well, the Rays are going to need a tire gauge and more with Odorizzi leaving this game, and you only hope. Of course, we have no idea what it is, but when you're dealing with a pitcher and any issue in the side, you're concerned, and so you're going to hope that it would be the least of all of those concerns right now.
Yeah, I mean, and it goes back to him begging them, let me just throw one. Why? You're not going to be able to stay in the game, and you run the risk of not re-aggravating, but aggravating that injury further, because very rarely do you see a pitcher come up like that. Something grabbed on Jake pretty good, and so you get him out of there, and you immediately try to assess what's going on, and it's just a tough break for the Rays.
Well, it could be any number of things, but obviously speculating here would serve no purpose. We'll wait and see what we get, and there is the final pitch, and we saw replayed the pitch just prior to that when he noticed something. And a very disappointed Jake Odorizzi departs this game in favor of Xavier Cedeno, and this comes on a night when the Rays bullpen was going to be shorthanded anyway. They were hoping Odorizzi could go deep into this game, maybe match up Cedeno with a hitter or two, and then really they were looking at Geltz and Bellotti available in the bullpen, because the three big horsemen, as it turns out, have been worked a lot lately.
And going even further than that, the way that this Rays pitching staff has been set up is you've needed Jake Odorizzi and Chris Archer to pitch deep into games, because the other starters, Colomé, you start to think about Erasmo Ramirez, Nathan Carnes, a lot of times those guys are in that 5 innings, 5 2/3, and coming out of there, putting a lot of pressure on the bullpen. Well, now you lose one of your horses going forward.
A 1-strike count on Morrison. 1-1 now.
How about that scoop there by Bobby Wilson? He made that look really easy, and that's a big-time play with runners at first and second.
There's Andrew Bellotti up in the bullpen. He had been stretched out a bit at Durham, so that is a factor to keep in mind, but the Rays shorthanded in the pen tonight. And now an abbreviated start for Odorizzi, who works 4 1/3 innings and leaves with 2 men on. So Jake had pitched 6 innings plus in every start this year. Last time he had pitched fewer than 6 innings was last September. Little roller left side. Longoria is going to have to take it to first out there. Miller goes to third. Ackley up to second base. And Morrison called out at first. And looking at Lloyd McClendon down there, he was looking at that play at first base and wondering maybe if Elmore left early.
That's the thing. Jake Elmore, not your normal first baseman, obviously, and he did come off the bag. It was close, really close. Mariners keeping up with the swinging bunts here in this inning. Second and third now with 2 outs.
And the hitter is Robinson Cano. Cano has grounded out and hit a fly ball to left. Here's that play and a look at first now.
I mean, that's about as close as it gets. You definitely want to get that foot out of there, but not too soon, especially with replay. You know, they get a feeling and just take a peek. You know, those are the kinds of things that could get overturned.
That's a strike, 1-1. Scoreless game in the bottom of the fifth. Couple men on. 2 outs. Ground ball. Elmore takes care of that. Cano and the Mariners leave 2. No score through 5. Through 5, Jake Odorizzi making the start for the Rays and pitching 4 1/3, 75 pitches before departing with that issue in his left side. And no word yet on what that was all about. Jay Happ, meanwhile, has kept the Rays scoreless through 5 on 4 hits.
And both of these pitchers had been locked in a pretty nice duel, give up a few hits, but not hurt themselves with the walk. Unfortunate, had to end early for Jake.
Bobby Wilson fouls it out of play. The intrepid Todd Callis is down in the clubhouse, and he'll have word before anybody else does. And as soon as he knows it, we'll know it. So stay with us, and we'll get whatever update is available in regard to Jake Odorizzi. A 2-strike count to Bobby Wilson, and he is out on strikes. The fastball up. Strikeout number 6 for Happ.
We've seen it a number of times on these strikeouts. At least half of them have been on that elevated heater. Working down in the zone, trying to get ahead, and then boom, pop it up there. We see Rays pitchers employ that technique with great results. Happ doing the same here tonight.
Breaking ball is over for a strike on the first pitch to Geyer. One ball, 1 strike. Rays have won 3 straight, 5 of their last 6. They've gone 5-2 on the road trip. Cano backpedaling out from second for this pop-up. 2 outs.
And we've seen Jay Happ now settle into this game where he's got it rolling. He's feeling comfortable out there. He's changing speeds effectively. He's changing eye levels effectively. Even that fastball in there to Brandon Guyer kind of surprised him. Well, now he's got to square off against Joey Butler, though.
Well, Butler has been hot. 0 for 2 tonight. Tonight's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Hits by rookies this year. The Rays tops in the American League. The Mariners have no rookies and no hits. 1-1 to count here on Butler. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. You'll see Butler very seldom leaves the batter's box. Thinking about it there. Wanted time until he's ready.
Well, his first swing on the first pitch of this at-bat, he kind of swung, left the bat on his shoulder, and then just turned and put the bat back up in the ready position. I mean, it was wasting no time or effort.
There's a liner into left center field. Ackley cutting across. He's going to chase it to the warning track. Butler's on his way to second. And with 2 outs, the Rays have a man in scoring position. Butler's 7th double of the year. And he continues to swing a very hot bat. Butler extending his hitting streak to 7.
Well, it was a hanging breaking ball right here. Haven't seen too many of those. And Joey Butler, eyes light up. And boy, he gets right through that pitch, drills it out into the gap, gives the Rays a 2-out opportunity.
Well, the Rays got Elmore as far as third base after he doubled with 1 out in the 5th. He was wild pitch to third. And a couple men on in the first inning and could not cash in on that one. And now Longoria will be given an intentional walk. Longoria 2 for 2 off Happ tonight and 7 out of 18 in his career. And Logan Forsythe now, who follows Longoria in the order, will be up here for a big at bat. Two men on, 2 men out. The intentional walk. The first walk of the night issued by Happ. Miller at short. It's right on the outfield grass. The pitch is down, with the idea that if there's a ball hit in that direction, they want to keep it on the infield if they can in this scoreless game with runners at first and second now.
We see that, on the shift where you move that second baseman out there a little further, you increase range.
And a line drive, but it's right at Seager. Forsythe frustrated by that. Forsythe lines to third. The Rays leave 2. Night with the Rays, featuring our favorite cowboy. There's Cowboy Todd, which reminds us to throw on our boots and enjoy the country songs of Lee Brice after the Rays play the White Sox Saturday, June 13th. Lee Brice, the latest featured post-game concert act, one of Nashville's hottest country stars, sings hits such as I Don't Dance. For more information, visit raysbaseball.com/concerts.
How about the look on Todd's face in the cowboy outfit? A different version of surprised. Like, where'd the top of my hat go?
Well, Andrew Bellotti now is the new pitcher for the Rays, and the Rays are hoping to get a lot of innings out of him. Not a big number to choose from in the Rays bullpen after Jake Odorizzi leaves early. Nelson Cruz takes the pitch for a strike. Cruz, Seager, and Trumbo here for Bellotti. There's a big miss at the breaking pitch. 0-2. Cedeno faced two men, got two ground balls to finish out the fifth. After Odorizzi left the game with an issue in his left side. One ball, two strikes. Bellotti recalled Monday from AAA Durham and pitched that night. Cut and a miss on the fastball. Cruz seems surprised.
Very. Well, he had been given a steady diet of breaking balls, was able to hold up on the third slider to get the count to 1-2, and then Bellotti, you're absolutely right, surprised him with the heater, emergency hack, and it was not pretty. Look at that, no stride and a day late. That's the kind of look that the Cowboy had. Todd. There's another.
It's the late swing.
Lots of versions of surprised.
Kyle Seager takes the ball. One and one. Rays taking the first game of the series last night, 2-1. Scoreless in this one in the bottom of the sixth. Seager out in front of that one.
Boy, he's showing a great mix right now. Good slider, a good firm fastball, nice changeup right there. Pressed into emergency duty after Xavier Cedeno gets out of the fifth inning. Bellotti on for the sixth, and boys, he locked in right now.
And Bellotti into this game earlier than he thought. There's pretty good notice that Geltz or Bellotti might be called upon to close if the Rays had a lead late. With the other members of that bullpen well worked in recent days. But he's in here a little early in the sixth inning after Cedeno finished the fifth. Here's Steve Geltz. Geltz is always ready at any time of the game. Still 1-2 to Seager. Geltz saw him just briefly last year and came to camp determined to make this club and do anything he could to help it. And boy, he's done exactly that. Ground ball. Gilmore takes care of it by himself. So a strikeout and a ground out. 2 up, 2 down. Well, we'll let you know as soon as we do on any word concerning Odorizzi. But it's to the point where enough already with what's happened to the Rays pitching staff, and they've been able to weather the storm. Trumbo, a big cut and a miss. Strike one.
Bellotti has come in pumping strike one. We've seen all 3 pitches already. You're going through a dangerous part of this lineup, so you're not surprised by that. Boy, he's been on point.
It's foul. The right side, 0-2.
Boy, it's impressive how the Rays just continue to roll pitchers out. You know, some of them you have an idea are coming. Some of them, you know, maybe not as much on the radar.
Weren't many people who thought Bellotti would be here as soon as he was. I think including Andrew Bellotti.
Yeah, well, all those injuries.
And how about that? He gets Trumbo to chase that slider. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the 7th inning. No score.
We'll see if the hometown boy Steven Souza Jr. can get things going for the Rays here to start the inning. Some news from the Rays clubhouse. Guys, you were right on it. Jake Odorizzi said he felt it on the final pitch of the walk, and then he felt it even more so on the first pitch to Logan Morrison. It is left oblique tightness. We're taking a look. I said just barely felt it on the final pitch of that walk, and then really felt it on the first pitch of the next batter. So left oblique tightness for Jake Odorizzi, guys.
All right, thank you for that update, Todd. Right on top of that, as usual, Steven Souza Jr. after the first pitch skies it into right, and that's Cano who made that catch. Cruz came in from right. That's not an easy catch, not an easy angle for a second baseman to handle.
No, and you know, he had plenty of time to get himself set up, but you know, in typical Robinson Cano fashion, he's going to style it up a little bit, and that play, watch how he's got plenty of time, and he's just going to set up like that. Yeah, that's really adding to the degree of difficulty.
Jake Elmore, that's a strike to him. In regard to the injury to Jake Odorizzi, that left oblique tightness is the initial word, and that's something that the Rays will monitor. Almost you want to monitor that minute by minute, because that potentially could be a big issue for the Rays, and you hope that it's nothing more than that initial word, but I think the reality is we'll have to wait and see where it goes from here. 3-1 the count on Elmore. Strike 2, full count now. So Odorizzi works 4 1/3. Cedeno 2/3. Bellotti worked a 1-2-3-6. The Rays are facing the 32-year-old lefty Jay Happ. Rays left 2 men on in the 6th inning. Butler at second. They left Elmore at third in the 5th. And they left Longoria at second base in the 1st. Those have been the opportunities. That one got by Happ and threw into center field, and Elmore is aboard with his second hit.
Boy, make that hurt, because for a pitcher, that's as routine as you get with a ground ball. Glove side, hip high. I mean, this is just a piece of cake right here, and he just whiffs it.
Yeah, Happ's still trying to figure out how that ball got by him.
Yeah, he doesn't get many ground balls. Maybe that played into it, because that was, like I said, as far as a ground ball to a pitcher, a one-hopper right at your hip on your glove side is easy. And Ray's get a base runner out of it.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera. Pitches down. You know, you can't help but think. Remember, he was hit by that line drive by Desmond Jennings. Suffered a concussion and the knee injury that really kept him out longer than anything else. It just, to the average guy, you get a shot back like that, and of course Alex Cobb suffered a similar situation. To get back out there and to completely put that behind you, it's got to be a major issue to do that.
I still think Jay Happ is thinking about that missed opportunity on the ground ball with these last 3 pitches. But, you know, that's one of those things where, and you'd have to talk to the pitchers that it's happened to. But I would think that if you had trouble getting over that, you couldn't be out there. I mean, you just, how could you go out and pitch effectively if you're thinking about that?
Yeah, well, and I'm not sure that you necessarily go out and do think about it. You know, you go out, you try to put it out of your mind, but it doesn't mean that at some point it's still going to be present there. You know, it's just another challenge that those pitchers have that other pitchers don't after going through that. There's a high fly ball, short left. Miller out, Smith in. And now it's going to be Smith to make the catch. 2 gone. Well, Cabrera frustrated in the 5th when he struck out, and frustrated here taking it out on the bat and his right fist.
I know that feeling. It was recent.
It's Kevin Kiermaier.
Well, he had the strikeout in the previous at-bat, like you said, and a pretty good pitch to swing at. You saw a nice, powerful swing, but he gets underneath it, and it's definitely boiling over right now.
Yeah. He may he may get rid of that bat. Two 2-0. You know, we talked about this the other day, how frustrating this game can be. It's based on how you cope with missing opportunities. The greatest hitters fails 7 out of 10 times. It's tough to do. Kiermaier down toward the corner and out of play. Smith all the way over there, and it's 2-1. And we've just seen an example here, the last 2 at-bats for Cabrera.
Sitting on the bench, some of the sounds that you would hear after a hitter would, come out after an at-bat like that, typically they're going to go down into the tunnel, and then you just hear mayhem. Stuff cracking, breaking, being thrown. I mean, you're right. Everybody deals with it a little differently. But frustration is definitely right at the top.
Yep. And that's one of the challenges of this game. I think any sport, but this one you're out there individually and you fail as a hitter at least more often than you succeed. Full count now to Kiermaier.
Here's what's going to happen. Jake Elmore, he's going to be running on the pitch. Kevin Kiermaier is going to line a gapper into left center field. 1-0 Rays.
Well, that seems like an acceptable set of circumstances. Runner goes, and the pitch is popped up. Right side for Morrison, and he makes the catch. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. Bottom of the 7th coming, scoreless. One returns as the Rangers take on the Royals. Then it's baseball night in America as the Angels square off against the Yankees. Coverage begins at 1:30 p.m. Eastern on your home for baseball every Saturday, Fox and Fox Sports 1. Scoreless in Seattle. On to the bottom of the 7th.
It was a really good movie.
And we're hoping that this version comes out to the Rays' liking. Right now, Seth Smith steps in to face Andrew Bellotti. The pitch is high. 0-6-0 for the Rays, 0-4-0 for the Mariners. One. Smith has grounded out, struck out. Two balls and a strike. Yankees have won. Toronto won. Baltimore won. Boston won. The Rays in a scoreless tie in Seattle. 2 balls and a strike. Now 3-1. That's a strike. How about that? Smith thought he had drawn the walk, and Adrian Johnson called that one a strike, so the count is full. Johnson may have turned over a new leaf. Velati maybe got a break on that call. But not on that one. Ball 4. Leadoff hitter aboard in the 7th. Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. You're looking at Alex Colomé. He'll be on the hill for the Rays, facing Felix Hernandez. Colomé 3-2 on the year, and Felix Hernandez 8-2. And Orestes will break down the newest member of this Seattle lineup, Mark Trumbo, who's DHing tonight for the Mariners. Here's Brad Miller. Miller with a strikeout and a base hit. Ground ball picked up by Forsythe out at second, and a nice play by Forsythe, ranging far to his left to get the lead runner for the first out of the inning, and now Miller reaches on a fielder's choice. Well, Forsythe made that great play in last night's game and ranges to his left to make this one. Now the catcher, Mike Zunino tonight, and a fly ball to right and a ground ball to first. Pitch is a strike. Zunino hit 22 home runs last year in 131 games for the Seattle Mariners. 24-year-old catcher. Keeping an eye on Miller at first.
Well, you get the feeling here that one of these offenses is going to have to push the envelope a little bit. Obviously, no runs on the board yet, not many opportunities.
And again, a move to first. A little closer that time on Miller.
You start to look at the Seattle Mariners and their success rate in stealing bases. It's not been pretty. They're just above 50% as a team. 23 stolen bases, 19 caught stealing. That doesn't help score runs either.
Outside. Good movement on that fastball and ran it wide. Velati facing Zunino, who was out of the University of Florida. He was in 3 straight College World Series with the Gators. Chases this one. Well, that really had some action on it.
Now that's one of the knocks on Zunino, is his strike zone really is limitless. He will expand and chase. That's just a fastball that's a good foot off the plate, and he's going to take a swing at it. Forget a breaking ball that's sweeping away, just a straight 4-seam heater.
got him on the slider.
Where do you go as a hitter when you're going to swing at that kind of stuff? It's going to get around where you don't even have to throw him a strike. He's going to have to tighten that up, or you'll see nothing but that. A great job by Bellotti.
Well, Bellotti in 4 pitches didn't throw him a strike.
Well, no, and that's why it was a good job by him to recognize that. I'm sure that's in their scouting report, and they go out there and say, be borderline. You don't even have to be on the plate. He's going to hack. And now's where you really got to watch Brad Miller here with 2 outs.
Miller 4 of 5 running this year. And there's a first pitch strike to Dustin Ackley.
And he's by far and away their most successful. Austin Jackson, he has 7 stolen bases, but he's been thrown out 5 times. And so you would think that he would be at some point moving here.
There's strike 2. Carson Smith up in the bullpen. Liner into right. That's going to fall for a base hit. And it moves Miller up to second with 2 gone.
Boy, that hurts there. You got a chance to put Ackley away and get out of this inning, and you leave one too hittable in that situation.
Well, he was so good with not throwing Zunino a strike before him and then getting ahead to Ackley, and he just grooved that one.
Yep. And that's when you can really expand. You get into counts like that, you've got a pitch or 2 to play with. He went right after him, and it cost him.
Top of the order, Logan Morrison, who extended his hitting streak to 12 with a base hit in the 3rd. Pitch is too low. Well, a man in scoring position at second with Ackley at first and Miller on second base. Morrison fouls it out of play. Seattle came into this game hitting .215 on the year with men in scoring position. They're 0 for 3 tonight. We mentioned earlier in the telecast they were 1 of 11 last night with men in scoring position. And before the Rays got here, in their middle game of that series against the Yankees, they were 3 for 17 in one game with men in scoring position.
That's about as frustrating as it gets to have that many opportunities and really not be able to cash in. You go back to that game that the Rays in Minnesota, I think it was, where they were 10 out of 23. That's been a troublesome area for Tampa Bay, too.
2-1. Now the count extends itself to 3 balls and a strike.
Think about the job that Bellotti did against Zunino, expanding that zone from the very beginning and making him look bad. Not doing it to Ackley, and now falling into this count with Morrison with Cano lurking. I know Cano's not having his normal type year, but it's still Robinson, Cano potentially with the bases loaded. You need to make a pitch here.
And Morrison, who's been a hot hitter up here, he goes after this one and pops it up. That's going to carry into the stands. Foul. And the count goes full. Two men on, 2 men out, a full count. The runners will be breaking. they go, and that's ball 4 inside. That will load the bases for Robinson Cano. Two walks in the inning, a walk to start it, now a walk to Morrison to load the bases. 2 outs. Jim Hickey out here before Cano steps in.
You know, this is where, and Jim Hickey is so good at this. Look how demonstrative. He's got a plan of action. He's not going to go out there and hesitate. He's not going to go out there and look unsure. He's going to go out there and say, hey, listen, here's the deal. This is what we're going to do against Robinson Cano. You're going to execute the pitches. You're going to come off this mound in a scoreless game. Just giving that confidence to his pitcher that's struggling a little bit right now. That's got to be, that's the toughest part. And those, when the manager or the pitching coach comes out there for those meetings, is he has to show confidence to his pitcher. And Jim Hickey does a great job of that. We'll see if it pays off.
Well, Robinson Cano tonight twice has grounded out to Elmore at first. In between, he had a fly ball to Geyer in left. And now it's the rookie right-hander, Andrew Bellotti, against the veteran Cano. Starts him with a fastball wide.
Tried to overthrow that pitch. He understands the gravity of the situation and how big this moment is, and just tried to pump up a little bit too much on that heater. Stay within yourself.
Cut the miss. Another fastball. 1-1.
That was nice. He buried this baby at 93.
Chopper again to Elmore. And the Mariners leave him loaded. We're headed into the 8th. No score. Tonight's game summary brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. Goose eggs through 7, 0-6-0 for the Rays, 0-5-0 for Seattle. Jake Odorizzi leaving the game in the 5th inning after pitching 4 1/3 with tightness an issue in that left oblique. Jay Happ will now depart after working 7 scoreless allowing 6 hits. Carson Smith, who has been the setup man out of the bullpen, comes on to work the 8th, making his 25th appearance.
Well, and he's been very good. As you can see, that ERA 1.17, 28 punch-outs in 23 innings, and that opponent's average of 150. You know, this was a bullpen that last year led Major League Baseball in earned run average. A very good, stout pen, but, you know, you almost welcome him out the way that Jay Happ threw the ball.
Changes behind him. Dustin Ackley moves into left field, moving over from center. And Austin Jackson takes over in center field. Bobby Wilson's spot is due up, but David DeJesus will come off the bench to pinch hit against the right-hander. He goes after the first one and skies it toward left. Ackley is there waiting. 1 away. 7 innings for Happ, no runs. Gave up 6 hits. And now Smith. Brandon Guyer, who is 1 for 3 tonight. 1 ball, no strikes. Smith, 25 years old. He comes out of the Mariners farm system. He started his pro career in 2012 in the minor leagues with Seattle.
And just check out the arm angle and the stuff. I mean, you talk about deception. He just kind of flings the ball up there.
Up and in, and it's 3-0. Well, Guyer, who's been hit, I think, by 7 pitches this year. That was a near miss.
And a lot of times we've seen Brandon Guyer not give up any ground, just kind of turn into a pitch. He got out of the way of that one.
Yep, a good idea, too. The strike, now 3-1. Ground ball chopped to the left side. Seager throws a strike to first. 2 outs in the 8th inning. Bid to win your own Rays game. Use Memorial Day jerseys and caps. The auction is live through Sunday, June 7th, with proceeds benefiting the Rays Baseball Foundation. You can find more information by visiting raysbaseball.com/auctions. Joey Butler now in there against Smith. Butler doubled in the 6th inning. Slider.
Not that you would be surprised by this when you watch Carson Smith throw, but you go back over last year, he threw 8 1/3 innings with the Mariners, and then what he's done this year, he has retired 44 hitters via the ground ball, 11 in the air. Not to mention all the strikeouts that he's been able to rack up. So you talk about ground ball extraordinaire with punch-out ability. Yikes.
Pitch in a bit, and the fastball, see that one registering at 94, and he's that, and maybe another tick up too. He averages 93, 94. Oh, and he hits him this time. Pumped up a little there, and he hits Joey Butler.
Well, he has that arm side run and sink, and when the ball's elevated, it's going to take off on you, and that's what happens here. Boy, right off the forearm.
Well, with 2 outs, the Rays get a runner. And Evan Longoria will be the hitter. Butler talking over there with Logan Morrison and Rocco Baldelli about where that ball hit him on the back of the hand. Here's Evan. 2 singles and an intentional walk. And there's a strike. That slider up. There's Kevin Jepson up in the Rays bullpen. And the back end of that bullpen has been busy. Jepson closed out the game last night. And strike 2, 0-2. Jepson has pitched in the last 2 games. Rizzi left early because of the left side issue. Ooh, a little wide there, says Adrian Johnson. Smith was starting to walk off the mound, and now he's going to get a visit from his catcher. He thought he had strike 3, and it looks like just a perfect pitch.
That little bit of movement close doesn't go his way. You saw the pitches up and in that he got the calls on, but not the one down and away, and that gives Evan Longoria another shot here.
And a high chop. The shortstop Miller waits and now throws and gets it over there just in time. Boy, with that high chop, we thought Longoria might have an outside chance at beating it out. The Rays leave a man. We're scoreless in the middle of the 8th.
With the Rays from Safeco Field in Seattle after 12:30 on the East Coast. Sometimes that's a good time for the wet look. And speaking of that, guys, tomorrow on Late Night with the Rays, we're going to check out David DeJesus on a variety of topics, including how he prepares for a game with the wet hair look. It's a very complicated process. Not 1, not 2, but 3 cups involved. We'll hear that. His favorite moment on the field, his funniest moment on the field, I should say, why he eats ice cream for a good luck charm in the 14th inning, and much more. That's all David DeJesus profiled as he finally gets a start tomorrow after not starting the last 4 games against lefties. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, he gets a start against Felix Hernandez in tomorrow's game. Nelson Cruz leading off, and a base hit up the middle past the diving Logan Forsythe.
Well, the Rays had the right idea defensively against Cruz, but watch him just kind of slow his swing down and just kind of punch that ball through the Rays defense. He didn't take a big hack like he had done in his previous bat in the strikeout. But look at the slider. He just goes down there nice and smooth, doesn't overswing, and finds a hole.
Well, for the second straight inning, Seattle has the leadoff man on. Here's Kyle Seager. He's 1 for 3 tonight. He fouls the high fastball back. The pitch up, and Seager went after it and fouled it.
You know, that as a pitcher, you need to be able to determine when a guy fouls a pitch straight back like that, was he right on it or was he late? And that swing by Kyle Seager, he was tardy. He was not right on that pitch like a lot of times you are when you foul it straight back. So don't be afraid to go back with that heater.
1-1.
It's one of the toughest things that you have to, be able to figure out rather quickly out on the mound. Sometimes they're right on it, and you're like, ooh, I better change the location, change the pitch selection, whatever it is.
Rivera behind the plate after Wilson was lifted for the pinch hitter. Liner into center field. Here comes Kiermaier. He got it. Kevin Kiermaier straight in after that one, making the catch and then popping to his feet with an eye toward first, but Cruz was already on his way back. Great play coming straight in.
Well, a lot of times you'll see these outfielders, it's not even that they have to dive, but they get their eyes and their head down at the level of the ball. Look at Kiermaier getting a good beat on that, eyes right on it. A difficult play on a ball that was well struck by Seager, but hung up enough.
A great shot with the eyes focused on the baseball. Here's the DH, Mark Trumbo. Starts to go, but lays off. He almost watches this into the glove.
That's exactly why they do it. I mean, there are plays that sometimes, and he needed to leave his feet there, but you don't even necessarily need to. But what it allows you to do is get your head down on the same level of the baseball and makes a difficult catch a little easier.
Cruz, the runner at first. Mark Trumbo coming over from Arizona. He was hitting .259 there with 9 home runs. He was 2 for 4 last night with the Mariners. 0 for 3 tonight. Takes a big cut and misses the slider. 1-1. Odorizzi, Cedeno, and Velati. Stop. Rivera staying in front of the pitch.
Everything looms large here. Scoreless ball game late. Rene Rivera fresh off the bench, able to come in and not allow that ball to get away from it.
Three and one. Velati came into this game to begin the 6th. Cruz was the first man he faced. He went 1-2-3 in the 6th, then got out of a bases loaded situation in the 7th. 1 on, 1 out of the 8th. 3-1 to count on Trumbo. chopped to short. Cabrera, 1 at second, 2 at first, 6-4-3 on the double play. Cabrera, Forsythe to Elmore, and the Rays get out of that one. No runs, a hit, and nobody left in the 8th for Seattle. Velati throws the double play ball, and we go to the 9th, scoreless. In Seattle, Washington, late night with the Rays. We're headed into the 9th. And let me tell you something.
Little air quotes going on there.
We're tied. No score here, and Fernando Rodney is going to be the new pitcher for Seattle. And it's been an on-again, off-again proposition for Rodney in the 23 games he's appeared in so far this year.
Yeah, a few red flags in this lineup of numbers. The opponents average over 300, 12 walks in 22 1/3, and that will directly lead to the inflated ERA of 6.85.
Well, we all hark back to the 2012 season, the record-breaking season of a 0.60 earned run average, the major league record for a reliever in 76 games and 48 out of 50 in the save department. Logan Forsythe leads off the 9th against him, and he takes a fastball for a ball. Forsythe hit the ball sharply in the 6th, only to have Seager catch it at 3rd, leaving men at 1st and 2nd. That was a frustrating moment for him. Now leading off the 9th against Rodney and trying to get something accomplished. 2 balls and a strike. High fly ball back into deep left. Ackley to the wall. Goodbye. Home run for Logan Forsythe. On a 2-1 pitch. Forsythe hits it out and the Rays lead 1-0. That makes up for the frustration he felt in the 6th. Elation here in the 9th on the home run by Forsythe, his 7th of the year. And it's 1-0 Tampa Bay.
Well, you get yourself into a good count and you get a mistake pitch moving in, but you got to credit Logan Forsythe. Look at him get the hands close to the body, pulled through quickly, solid contact, and see you later.
So the Rays take the lead. A long one off the bat of Forsythe. Now Souza Jr. with a count of a ball and a strike. Souza lifts it into right center. Cruz cuts over to make the catch. And that's the first out.
Well, you can't say enough about Logan Forsythe and his contributions to this Rays team at the plate, in the field. Saw him maybe save the game last night on a great play at second base, and then perhaps he's put his team in a position to win tonight here with that shot off of Rodney.
Jake Elmore pitches high. Jake is 2 for 3 tonight. He's been a valuable member for the Rays in the absence of James Loney. 1-1. There's Kevin Jepson up in the bullpen. Too high. It's 2-1. Two. Change up in there. Ground ball right side. Cano gloves, turns and throws. Elmore is the second out. Two gone, bases empty. And as Drupal Cabrera Cabrera 0 for 3. A couple of frustrating at bats for him tonight in the 5th and 7th innings, resulting in a strikeout and a pop fly to left. One ball and no strikes the count. Two and 0. Happ works 7. Carson Smith 1 inning. And now Fernando Rodney. Two and 1. Well, the Rays put some men on in the later stages of this game. They're stranded 6 tonight. Left foul out of play. 2 and 2. Mariners have left 8 men, including the bases loaded in the 7th. Now we go to 3 and 2. Cabrera laying off the 2-2 changeup. Popped up. The left side foul. Seager gloves that. The Rays are out in the 9th, but they take the lead on a home run to open the inning. A home run off the bat of Logan Forsythe. We'll go into the bottom of the 9th. It's 1-0 Tampa Bay. to be front and center for the Rays, a major part of their success story, and he belts a home run in the top of the 9th inning to give the Rays the lead. And Kevin Jepsen will come on to pitch here in the bottom of the 9th inning for the Rays. Reminder, coming up on Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers. We'll anchor the coverage right here from Seattle. Take another look or two at that Logan Forsythe home run. We'll have the Kevin Cash press conference, and Todd Callis will supply interviews from the clubhouse immediately following the conclusion of this game. Jepsen worked 1 inning, picked up the save last night. He also pitched in the game on Wednesday down in Anaheim, pitching for the 3rd straight day. 1-3 with a couple saves. And he faces Austin Jackson. The first pitch to him is a strike. Jackson at the plate for the first time tonight. He took over in center field in the 8th. Jackson fouls it into the screen.
You know, Jepsen getting that save last night. On this road trip, there have been 3 different Rays pitchers to pick up saves. It shows you the versatility of that bullpen and how many options that Kevin Cash has. Maybe not tonight, but overall.
It's a ball and 2 strikes.
Jepsen bringing the noise tonight. 97 on that last offer.
Yeah, and he finished last night's game with a fastball that struck out Cano, and he hit 97 with that one. Shot toward right center field, and a diving attempt by Souza gets by him. Kiermaier with the pickup. Jackson on his way to 3rd, and the throw's not going to be in time. Jackson lines a triple into right center field, past the diving Souza.
You know, that ball was ripped by Austin Jackson the other way. Steven Souza's going to sell out for it, but the angle by Kevin Kiermaier not quite deep enough, and then that ball squirts by him, and once it gets by him, Austin Jackson with his speed off to the races. You can understand Souza Jr. is going to sell out, but you know, Kevin Kiermaier, I think initially he maybe thought that he had a play on it, and so he took a more direct route to the ball instead of going deeper to keep that ball from getting to the wall. If Souza Jr. dives and misses, then he's there to pick it up and keep Austin Jackson at 2nd. But the angle was shallow. It gets by both of them, and Rays are in a little bit of trouble here.
Well, Brad Miller will be the hitter. Rays with a lengthy conference on the mound with Jim Hickey out there. Well, a big spot now. Miller 1 out of 3 on the night. Infield up. And the pitch is a fastball missing. 1-0. Miller had that little infield hit in the 5th inning. And there's a strike at the knees. It's 1-1. And that swinging bunt that went between Odorizzi and Longoria in the 5th. Cut and a miss. Fastball runs the count to a ball, 2 strikes.
Big heat up in the zone. You don't think about the strikeout until you get to this point. Now you go for it. You need it.
One, two, got him. Struck him out. He went upstairs with the hard stuff and strikes out Miller.
Boy, oh boy, what a dominant sequence of pitches by Kevin Jepsen. Meaning business here, and he climbs that ladder. No shot. And now you got another guy up here, Mike Zunino, prime candidate for a strikeout, and you don't have to be that fine.
Well, we saw that in the 7th inning with Bellotti on the mound. He struck him out on 4 pitches and didn't throw him a strike at all.
Be smart.
And the pitch, a strike on that outside part of the plate, fastball. Well, that pitch away, if nothing else gets him swinging, that one will. He takes the curveball down and away.
You think he trusts Rene Rivera? You got to run around third, and you're going to yank that curveball right into the dirt. That's because you've got premium trust in your catcher. Pretty sweet chest protector there, too.
A 1-1 count on Zunino. Oh, he goes out there again, and this time will not get the call.
And Rene Rivera asking Adrian Johnson, where did you have that? Because that's a close pitch, and boy, you know, the difference between 2-1 and 1-2 is huge. Could have.
Well, it was right over the first pitch, right on top, same location. And he's out there again and gets the call, and it's 2-2.
I'll tell you, watching Kevin Jepsen go to battle here after that leadoff triple is fun. I mean, he is selling out on every single pitch.
2-2 the count. High pop down the right side, foul. Elmore near the stands. That's going to be out of play.
Oh!
Two the count on the Seattle catcher. Austin Jackson at third. He opened with a triple. Jepsen struck out Brad Miller. Now it's 2-2 to Zunino. And another foul that's out of play.
Well, give him the hook right here and end this at bat. You've either got to go with that. You've got him in swing mode now at the fastball. You either have to put that fastball letter high, or you got to go with the curveball and see what they decide. Okay.
There you go. 2-2. Here it is. And he breaks it into the dirt. And the count is full.
Almost short-armed that pitch. You know, he kind of almost aimed it. Instead of letting it rip, tried to be too fine with it. It just wasn't a competitive pitch. A great job by Rivera to keep it in front.
A full count to the Seattle catcher.
If it's a heater, he's swinging. Just get it close.
(3-2) and a foul back. That one fastball at 96. So battle between the hard-throwing right-hander Kevin Jepsen and the Mariners catcher.
A lot of power. You're going to make him beat you to the other side of the field. I'd go back with another heater, and I would raise it. He's going to swing at the heater. Throw it up there right across the Mariners on the shirt. He'll take the walk of shame, and he's asking for it up.
Here we go. 3-2 again. And a high fly ball. Right field short near the line. Caught by Souza. And Jackson will remain at third. Boy, Rivera all over that throw to keep it in front of him. 2 gone now.
I got sweaty palms, Dwayne. I've got sweaty palms.
That makes 2 of us.
My goodness. Just not far enough. Austin Jackson, he's going to go back and bluff. Souza Jr. trying to build some momentum. And then you're going to see that Rene Rivera. It's going to one-hop Rivera with some heat on it. Look at him just let that thing right into that sweet chest protector. That's what it's there for.
2 gone. Jackson still at third after the leadoff triple. And here's Dustin Ackley. Ackley has struck out, walked, and singled. And the first pitch is a fastball, strike 1 call.
Yep, got the jump, and that pitch may have been off the plate. Dustin Ackley not real happy with that call, but too bad. Yep.
Well, there's a look. High pop fly into left. This should do it. Geyer's got it. Rays win it. A 1-0 final. Ackley skies to left. The Rays get a home run to open the 9th inning from Logan Forsythe. And for Seattle, after a leadoff triple in the bottom of the 9th, Kevin Jepsen closes the door. And the Rays take game 2 of this series 1-0.
What a job by Kevin Jepsen. 3rd straight night that he's worked, and he gives up a leadoff triple, and then every pitch max effort. And watch this emotion that he's about to let rip.
So the Rays win their 30th game of the year, and a great job on the heels of the premature departure of Jake Odorizzi in this game. 4 1/3 for Jake, 2/3 for Cedeno. Andrew Bellotti, who's going to get the win, gave the Rays 3 scoreless innings, and Kevin Jepsen finished the job. Right now, let's go to the field. Todd Callis standing by. Logan Forsythe down there with them, and the Rays are 1-0 winners tonight.
You're right, Dwayne. What a game it was, Logan. First of all, congratulations on the home run, but that bottom of the 9th was a little crazy, too. Oh, you just got the ball back?
Hey, thanks, Jeffy.
So it's a waterlogged ball now, but that's the home run ball. The bullpen just retreated?
I guess so. They gave it to me, so I don't know. I guess it landed out there. I don't know where Jake gave it to me. I guess that's it.
We'll talk about your home run in a second, but what about Kevin Jepsen, the leadoff triple, and then to get through the rest of that inning?
That's just hard nose right there. I mean, he's been coming in doing a great job for us, and for him to pull that out, I think that's big for him. Our bullpen's been great for us, and it's shown this whole road trip.
For you, you hadn't had a ton of at-bats against Fernando Rodney. What were you thinking there? He's a guy who has the great fastball and great changeup.
Yeah, he's got great stuff. And, Fernando, limited at bats that I have. You got to kind of see the ball up on him. And, luckily I got something on the plate, and I just try to get the